Hello humans, this is mostly going to be a test. This is a live stream for the SLS, which is which is a code name for Artemis 2. This is the rollout video. But as I've only just started learning about space and I've only just started learning about all these different things, I didn't think I could carry on a commentary watching it on NASA's live channel because there's no audio at all. And I wouldn't know what was going on and I wouldn't know what was happening. And so I was like, well, that's not going to make very good content. And I also want to learn about it. And so I found this channel, NSF, and they're doing a live stream watching the whole thing. And so in some ways, this is going to be a test because first and foremost, I don't want to steal NSF's content. I want to react to things under the fair use clause, which is me being transformative and me adding something to their live stream and not just rebroadcasting their stream. I don't want to do that. So this is a bit of a test on that front. If I start watching this and they're interacting with chat a lot, or they're doing their own thing and I don't really have anything to add, then I'll probably just cut the video and figure something else out, or I'll just watch this on my own and just not do content about it, which is unfortunate, but I just don't have the knowledge base or the confidence to be able to host something like this or be able to really add to something like this. So this will be a test on that front. This is also going to be a test of my recording software, my screen recording software. So far, I have only recorded up to 30 minutes, and I know this stream is going to be a few hours long. I may have to do some cuts if I get into this and I think it's being transformative enough and I'm not just ripping off their content, which again, I don't want to do. If I feel like I'm actually adding something and I'm having a lot of commentary, then I might just cut it up into sections. It's already 1:30, 1:45 a.m. now watching this. Not that it affects you guys because I'll put out these videos. I publish 4 p.m. every day, but just I don't want to stay up for the rest of the night. So I'll watch a little bit. This will be a test. We'll see what it's like. We'll see, how much NSF is like providing stuff I can comment on versus just like interacting with their own people, But anyways, figure let's get into this. Again, Artemis 2 being rolling out to the pad. So
well, good evening, everybody. We are live once again from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida because the big orange rocket is about to start moving once again for the third time as a completed.
So this started at 8:22. So they're probably already. I can't do math right now because it's 1:45 a.m. But it's like 5.5 hours, probably 6 hours into this. So it should, I think they said, I read an article saying it would take 8 to 12 hours to get it out. I don't know if NSF is covering the whole thing live. That's some serious commitment. Again, I will put their stuff down I'll put their channel link down on the bio, in the description. Sorry, I'm still getting used to YouTube lingo. I'll put it in the description so that you can check out their channel and watch it for yourself if you want.
Full stack. First, out to LC-39B. Second, back to the VAB to repair some snags which cropped up on the pad. Third time is the charm. Fingers crossed, a rollout back to Launch Complex 39B. Fingers crossed for a launch at the beginning of next month. My name is Ryan Caton. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. We are going to be live throughout the entire rollout from inside the VAB, quite literally, all the way to the launch pad, just over 3.5 miles, 4 miles commitment. Out to the pad there. And it's going to take a little while as you...
So, as he was saying, this is the third time they're rolling it out. They rolled it out in January. Yeah, January. And then they tried to fire it off in February, and there were a few things wrong, so they had to roll it back inside, fix it all, and now they're bringing it back out again. So I was there in January, and I didn't know hardly anything about this. I knew I wanted to go to the Space Center, and I knew it was cool, but I going to the Space Center really got me re-hooked on space. I was hooked when I was a teenager, but I still was only just a casual fan. And now I've been like a casual fan by proxy for a while. But now I want to get actually back into it and like, or not even back into it. I was never really into it. I want to get into it so I know the things that are happening in space. It's still such a cool field, and I feel so like privileged to live in a generation where I can cover space as a topic and have enough to talk about, perpetually. But anyways, so I got to see this thing out on the pad when it was out there in January, which was the coolest thing to me. And then, as he just mentioned, they're thinking about launching it next month in April. It's about 2 weeks out from now. I'm surprised actually they would bring it out onto the pad 2 weeks ahead of time. That seems like, I don't know, Florida's weather is pretty crazy. That seems like you're taking some risks. But I guess if it's supposed to withstand exiting Earth, and that I guess it can deal with some Florida weather. But anyways, I'm hoping to make it down to the launch when that happens.
You may expect and have become used to by this point, it could be anywhere from 8 to 12 hours. So a good old long stream for you tonight. And alongside me, for the first part of the stream at least, we have some very clever people to assist with my commentary. First of all, we have EJ joining us all the way from Twitch. How you doing, EJ?
Oh, yeah. I just got back from Twitch. It's a great place, Ryan. Thank you for having me, and I'm looking forward to see the big orange roll.
Long old journey indeed. And we have a couple people actually in the field being able you can't exactly see the rocket right now with your Mark 1 eyeballs, Sawyer, but you are stationed right by the crawlway, and fingers crossed you will be able to see it with your Mark 1 eyeballs not too long.
Exactly. I can see the base of it. I can see the bottom of the mobile launcher, the base of the crawler transporter. So it's hinting that it wants to come on out of the VAB. It's just a matter of when it starts rolling. And once it does, then yes, it'll be a lot more obvious to the Mark 1 eyeballs here. But it's a little bit windy tonight. Might be why they've kind of pushed a little bit here. And we'll see where we go out to the pad.
And also,
told you, Florida weather, no joke. Also, what is the VA? Like, what does it stand for? I know what the building is. It's the big square building that you take the tour, you'll see the big square building. I don't know what it stands for. Maybe they'll say. I had another question too. Oh yeah. You can go watch this. If I knew that. No, I've got stuff to do this weekend. I was gonna say if I knew that, maybe I would have gone down. But again, it's an 8.5 hour drive for me to get down there. And then, of course, 8.5 hours back. So, and that's with, medium traffic. If I hit any sort of construction or anything, easily be 12 hours down. But yeah, I'm planning to go down April 1st, which is their, what is it? It's called a NET. What is no sooner than NST, not NET. I don't know. I don't remember their acronym. I thought it was NET, but no sooner than April 1st is what they're saying. So I'm going to go down April 1st, and hopefully they'll launch it. We'll see.
Joining us in the field is Julia. How you doing, Julia?
Why, hello there. As Sawyer said, it is a little windy out here, so by Florida standards, we call this chilly. I'm excited to see SLS roll out yet again, hopefully for the final time. So excited to see if Max, by chance, gets wet tonight, thanks to a water truck.
Yes, because although for the time being we just have Julia and Sawyer on commentary, we do have Jerry and Max operating cameras out in the field as well. We've got the full team out in Florida bringing you live really views. This
I wonder if Max, they needed like special credentials to like be able to be on site. Well, I guess they probably have media credentials to be on site while that's all happening, because I don't think the Space Center is open past dark. I could be wrong. Maybe they open it up for special events like that. But it would seem, since it is an active... Is it a military site? It's a government site? I don't know what. I think maybe it's a military site. But it seems like you'd have to have some sort of special passes to be there, even if they are doing something special like this.
By the crawlway, awesome view, allowing us to see into High Bay 3 there in the vehicle assembly building. That is the mobile launcher. Just being blocked by the tower right now is the SLS rocket. So fingers crossed we do get moving soon. As you can see there by the flag, windy. It is a little bit windy at the Kennedy Space Center this evening, just gone past 25 minutes past 8 in the evening local time. But we are still well within the published limits by NASA for the rollout of the Space Launch System. I believe it's around 40 knots is their limit, and it's currently well underneath that, so 10 knots or so.
I think 40 knots. That's a lot of wind it can handle. I think this view is NASA's live stream that they keep pulling. This view right here, I think this is the NASA live stream view. I thought, like I said, I thought about just watching that, but I'd be staring at it and not be able to tell you anything because I don't know anything about these things yet. But it's cool that they have those other cameras there to be able to provide a little bit more perspective.
Something, maybe even less as things stand. So, well within margins, fingers crossed we do get rolling shortly. I just saw a light turn on the mobile launcher. Green light, I don't know if that means anything, but that just caught out of the corner of my eye. There's a green light which has just turned on. Maybe that's a sign they're going to be moving outside shortly because, of course, EJ, mobile launcher, quite tall.
Is that the one?
Need to make sure you
look at the antenna, look to the right a little bit. Is that the green light he's talking about?
Yeah, it's definitely a tall piece of equipment there. I mean, the SLS is no slouch, but the launcher that launches it is even bigger, and the VAB that it's all inside is even bigger than that. It's we're dealing with a scale here that's definitely. I'm not sure if the picture drives it home, Ryan, but it's she's a big one, that's for sure. Got to have the.
Yeah, I guess I didn't realize. I'm just now thinking about it. I'm sure as the night goes on, I will only just think of things that should have occurred to me earlier that I didn't. But I'm just now thinking about it. They would have had to build not just the rocket, but the whole tower launch assembly thing too, right? Do they build it all in that building there? Or is that something they use and reuse for multiple rockets? And, I guess it would have to be custom built per rocket, right? Or maybe it's modular. Maybe there's the base is I don't know. This is all guesstimates. Not even guesstimates, just guesses. I don't know anything.
Aviation warning lights on it.
Indeed. And we have, of course, many questions coming into the chat already, but if you are just joining us for the very first time, tag us in chat at NASA Spaceflight with your questions and comments. Brings it into a nice little queue to keep things organised.
I'm not going to be reading chat. I'll just go off of what they say. And again, if they do too much chat stuff, I don't want to rip them off, so.
Just tag us and we will be taking as many of those comments as possible. We already have a couple of comments about the office chair in the VAB.
Yes.
We have Austin Skirvin saying, look at that office chair in the VAB.
Down by
and
the
Kevin Conrad saying
there.
office
That's
chair
funny.
to the right for scale, kind of. I mean, I think the office chair may be slightly closer to us, EJ, than SLS, but it's still a little bit of good scale,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the crazy part about this is, Ryan, is that, this camera is probably about 250 feet, about 25 stories up. That's about halfway up the VAB for what it's worth. If you could tilt this, push this camera forward and then look down, it's 25 stories to the ground from here.
That's crazy.
The chair is that chair is way up in the air. It is given a scale, but it's in the foreground. It's very much in the foreground.
So I didn't get a good sense of scale either when I was there because it was on the launch pad. We could see it from the center. And then on the new center tour, they drive you out to this new thing they just built where it's it simulates a rocket test firing. And it's a big 4-story structure, and you can go and you can see the cone of the nozzle or you can see the cone of the rocket engine. You can see the engine up close. And it's got facts and plaques and all sorts of things. And like I said, it's 3 or 4 stories tall. But that thing is at the bend of the I don't know what the path is called, the road that they transport this thing on. I'm sure they'll mention it, but the crawler track, there's a bend in it. And that tower they built is right at the bend. But then what happens is it goes from this building all the way to the bend, and then it curves out. And it goes way far down. And I don't know how far it is. It could be a couple miles. It's probably a few miles. So it was a few miles away. And I could see it. But I had to, in order to get a picture of it, I had to use 50 times zoom on my phone. So that'll give you an idea of how far away it was. So it was cool because I could see it with my eye. And I could see it with even better with my phone. but the quality of the pictures I took was so low just because it was so far away. So I didn't even get a good sense of scale for this thing.
The scale of the VAB is just, that is a big building.
Truly massive. We have also got a question here, a great question here. Sawyer, I'll throw this one to you first. Luke is asking, why a night rollout? Of course, the previous two rolls for
question.
SLS have been in the daytime for Artemis 2. They did roll out during the evening hours for Artemis 1, though.
I mean, there really isn't a set time that it has to go. It's not like Starbase where they tend to go at night because the road closure, since it's...
What is Starbase? Is that a different... So I'm not familiar really with the layout of Kennedy Space Center. Like I am. I was just there, but like as far as the pads, is Starbase where SpaceX, is that like their designated area? Is that where they launch out of?
It's traveling on Highway 4 that it becomes an issue with, we have to be careful of other cars and limit the amount of traffic we're blocking. This has its own roadway. It has the crawler way that it goes on with the rocks embedded in it. So it really is whenever they're ready to go. And they did say that they were hoping to be able to get this thing rolled out. It was originally going to be Friday because of a harness or something that was still left up in regards to the flight termination system battery change that they did. But they got it out and were able to make it go Thursday. So maybe that took a little longer. Maybe because of weather this morning, which if anyone saw this morning's Starlink launch, you'll know it was not the nicest. I don't know. NASA doesn't publish why, but it's not like they have a set window where they have to roll out.
And
yeah, it's interesting that it's kind of like arbitrary, right? That it's like why would it be at night? Does it have to be at night? Is there any specific reason? Or like, have they just done it because they're like, yeah, it'll be ready tonight, so we'll roll it out tonight, you know? It's really interesting that it's not so like rock solid explained. It's just kind of like whenever it's ready to go, they'll bring it out. It's a little bit surprising given, you know, a multi-billion-dollar project, right? If anyone knows the cost, let me know. I'm actually curious the cost of this whole project. I don't know. I am planning to watch some other videos about the Artemis 2 just to kind of get myself kind of up to speed. It's almost a little bit unfortunate that this is all happening right now as I'm starting this channel. I guess it's poor timing on my part, but I would love... I should have started this channel a little bit earlier, and then I could like catch up on all this before it starts happening live, so I don't have to like, because even this, I could have watched this not as a live stream and been reacting to it differently, you know, but it's all happening like now. So I should have started this channel earlier, but you know, I didn't have the audio ready, I didn't have the video ready, I wasn't even sure how to do all this, was recording the screen and everything. So that's just on me, but anyways, I figured I'd start recording anyways, even though I got the audio. I felt like that was an important aspect to have good audio. But like I said, I'm working on, I mentioned in a past video, I'm working on getting a better recording space. It'll happen all at once. It's a space I'm setting up somewhere else. But when it's all set up, I'll have a lot more professional looking backdrop and lights and audio and everything. So, but anyways, it is all happening now. I can't change that. So I'm going to do my best to cover it all. But again, I don't know anything about the Artemis 2. So I'm going to try to watch a video even about the Artemis program, the Artemis 2, the Artemis 1, the future of Artemis, and then we'll monitor these things as they are going on live.
You know what, Sawyer? In all fairness, we do not have Highway 4 traffic, but I was here for rollback. And the traffic was actually crazy because as it got closer to the VAB, it was shift change out at 39A for SpaceX. And the traffic actually was a little bit bonkers.
So 39A, that's a pad. So I think this is going to 39B.
Yeah, they don't want you stopping to take pictures next to the rocket here. There were cops along the side of the road telling people to keep it moving.
Yeah, that is one of those things to keep into consideration. Okay, we are still standing by for the vehicle to actually start moving, but fingers crossed that isn't too far away. According to NASA's last update, which came over 24 hours ago at this point. They were targeting 8
Yeah,
p.m.
their updates
Eastern
are not
Daylight
very
Time, which was, of course, half an hour ago.
consistent.
So it looks like they've been hitting a little bit of a delay here. But again, this is kind of the brought forward time. The roll was originally Thursday, today, then it was pushed to Friday, tomorrow, and it was then brought forward again by like half a day to Thursday evening. So it'll be interesting to see when they get going. Fingers crossed it is not too long from now, because, of course, everything's turned on and the feeds have spooled up. So they're definitely expecting to be going pretty
The nice
soon.
thing is now we live in the digital age, so it's like, we can record indefinitely almost. I mean, memory cards and, battery are considerations, but it's like back in the 60s, if we were going to start recording at 8:30 p.m. and we didn't know how long it would take, it would just be a ridiculous nightmare to try to record the whole thing. But now in the digital age, that's a lot easier. So
Or the
thankful
stream
for that.
even. I was optimistic for the last rollout. I thought they had a good chance of going in February or March. Turns out not quite. But they've had time at the pad. They've had time back in the VAB to sort out some of the issues they've had. How confident are you in the April launch attempt window? Do you think April 1st is
This is the $1 million question that I'm really paying attention to, because like I said, I live up in North Carolina. It's 12 hours if maximum. 7 to 12 hours if I want to get down to Florida to watch this thing launch. I really want to watch it launch. And I have a very tight window because April 1st is a few days before Easter. And I've got family coming into town in North Carolina for Easter. So it's like I can go down April 1st. If it does not launch on April 1st, even if they just delay it one day to April 2nd, I will not be able to see it, and I will have to come back home to North Carolina for family for Easter. And that is like so disappointing that I personally have such a tight window of tolerance on this thing. So I'm like really hoping that this thing launches on April 1st, because if it doesn't, I will have just missed it by, 24 hours, which is so frustrating to drive all the way down there, drive all the way back, and have not gotten to see it.
actually a possibility now? Do you think we're actually close?
I do. I think we're actually close. I am hopeful for this one, more so than
Me
the
too.
last one. It sounds like from what our administrator was saying, there is confidence in the repairs that they have done, path they have forward. So hold on to that confidence and hope that this kicks off a busy April.
The big thing will be the weather. That's the
Yes,
biggest
because
factor.
of course we don't. It's not only Artemis 2, although I think there's an incredibly strong argument that Artemis 2 will be the most important mission of this part of the year, perhaps even the decade, dare I say century so far. But we, of course, have Starship Flight 12 coming up. We have another New Glenn flight coming up. So big rockets are definitely things to look out for
New
next
Glenn?
month. Because
Is that what he
some
said?
exciting action, which is going to
Is
be
that the
going
Blue
down
Origin?
not too long from now.
So I'm not familiar with all the different space programs around the world or even in the United States. I pretty much know Blue Origin, which I think is Bezos backed, if I'm not mistaken. That's Amazon, right? And then I know Virgin Galactic, which is Richard Branson, right? And then I know SpaceX, which is Elon Musk, and then I know NASA, which is the United States. But even knowing those 4 agencies or those 4 programs, whatever you want to call them, even that, I don't know anything about any of them, pretty much. I think out of anything, I know the most about NASA, and then the second most about SpaceX. And then I don't know anything about the other 2 at all. I just know they exist. So every once in a while when I'm watching these things, someone will say something and it registers in my mind. I'm like, that's probably a space agency. But I don't know if it is or isn't. It could be a launch complex. It could be an agency. It could be a program. I don't really know what any of them are. So I'm still trying to learn and gain all that knowledge. But I'm definitely going to be doing some coverage of different agencies once I know what I'm talking about and know what to look up.
Question here from Cyborg Valkyrie, who's asking, how long can SLS sit out there in days before they have to refresh the batteries again? Sawyer, let's talk about that, because of
Batteries.
course, unlike Artemis 1, they now have their new contingency pad access platforms, which is in NASA's, as NASA does things, it's a really long name for a gantry.
Yeah, that changed things a bunch because, again, I believe...
Is the gantry battery powered? Is that what they're talking about? Like, what part of the spacecraft has batteries in it? That's completely foreign to me. I had no idea there was... I mean, I guess everything can't be mechanical, right? So I guess all the systems... Now that I'm thinking about it, let me jog my brain a little bit. It is now past 2 a.m. I guess all the systems and everything are all digital now, I would guess, in the lunar module, if that's what it's called, or at least the place where the people sit. I don't know what the name for that is, if it's not lunar module. I guess it's all digital, so I guess there would be batteries. How do they... If they go up to space, they have to come back before the batteries run out. I wonder how they time that. Or maybe the batteries last 2 months and but you couldn't have it sitting out there 2 weeks because you want to send them with 100% battery rather than 80% battery. This is all brainstorming. This could be way off base, so I'll have to look this up or let me know in the comments.
The original one for Artemis 1 was 90 days that the batteries were certified for before they would have needed to be replaced. So for Artemis 1, they just kept getting extension after extension until finally they had to roll back anyway and said, well, while we're here, we might as well change them. So guess what? They were going to probably do that out on the pad last time, and then all of a sudden, for this mission, they realized, you know what? We're going to roll back anyway. So while we're there, might as well change up the batteries. So they did do that. So in theory, it should be good for 90 days. They can get the waivers for the extension if they needed. But as you pointed out, they now can do the changes out at the pad itself. So if they, for some reason, haven't launched in 90 days, they can replace those as well out at the pad and not have to roll back.
Okay. So I guess not everything has to be done in a sterile environment, it sounds like. Not that necessarily the building is a sterile environment, I guess. Well, it's more sterile than sitting out on a pad. But I guess it's not like, super sterile in like a medical sense, right? Although I know I got a notification this morning because I'm now following the Artemis 2 mission, I got a notification this morning that the astronauts have gone into quarantine, which is a procedure they do, a couple of weeks before launch. I don't know why. I guess it's for pathogens, and I guess it's so important of a launch that they can't have the guys getting sick with some random cold or something more serious before the mission. So I guess they put them into quarantine so that, a couple weeks out, so that if they launch, they're like in tip-top physical shape and have nothing like going on, I guess that makes sense. But so I thought that was interesting that I guess not a medically sterile environment, but inside the building would be more sterile than out on the pad. But I guess they're saying they can replace the batteries out on the pad, so it doesn't have to be like a weatherproofed environment. They can just do it out there. That's cool.
Indeed. We have a lot of people asking when launch. Julia had her guess. Sawyer, what about you? Let's go around the room here.
The big question. When launch?
I think it's going to be in this first April window. Do I know if it's going to be on April 1st? That I don't know, because again, this time they are not doing a wet dress rehearsal. They are not doing a tanking test of any kind once they roll this out to the pad. They said in a press conference that the next time that they fuel this rocket up, they want to be able to say go for launch at the end of it.
Wow.
So last time we've seen issues pretty much every time it's rolled out of the VAB for the most part, we've seen issues with seals and leaks and things like that. So I don't know if maybe the first try, but I definitely think within that first April window would be my guess.
Yeah,
EJ,
so if they don't launch it on the 1st, then they have the tentative 2nd through 6th is the next window they have. So if they don't launch on the 1st, which will be very unfortunate for me personally, then they have the window of the 2nd through the 6th. And if they don't launch it in that window, then they'll bump it to the 30th, which could potentially then be a good thing for me, because then I could potentially go back down on the 30th and try to watch it then, but it's all up in the air. I'm sure no one will know, including NASA, until like the day of. And even on the day of, it's only going to be a percentage. I mean, when I watched the SpaceX rocket launch, which is a fairly routine launch that they do with those things, it was only a percentage up until like 3 hours before. So I was at the Kennedy Space Center all day, and they kept saying, yeah, it's about a 60% chance they'll do it tonight. But then it was a 70%, and then an 80%, and then an 85%. And I don't think it went higher than 85%. I just went out to the place to watch it, and they ended up launching it. So it's a million different factors, not just with the craft, but with the weather, with the atmosphere, with, things going on outside of anyone's control. It's a billion different things, and it's just going to be what it is, and it's going to either be awesome or I'm going to miss it. Or they'll delay it till the end of April and I might get to see it. So I don't, we'll see.
Well, I don't mean to parrot Sawyer here, but I'm kind of with him. I'm not sure if it's going to go on the first, Ryan, but it'll definitely be in the early launch window. So just for some context, guys, like NASA has some windows. They have certain days like where they can get to the moon. I mean, it's. I'm not going to say the moon has to be in the right place, because it's not entirely all that, but the moon has to be in the right place. And recovery conditions have to be in daylight. There's a bunch of things. So essentially, they have like the first week in April, and then recovery. April 30th. So when we say like, oh yeah, it's going to be first week in April, that's when they have greenlit days that meet all their mission launch criteria for flight. And then there's one on the 30th as well. There's like April 1st, 2nd, 4th, 5th, I think, something like that.
All days, actually, EJ. All the 1st through the 6th.
Oh, yeah. We have all of them through the 6th and then the 30th.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I agree with you, Sawyer. I think it's definitely going to be in that first window, barring no shenanigans, we'll say.
Going to start sounding like a broken record here, because I agree. I have my reservations about April 1st, simply because the first time they'll be tanking will be for a launch attempt. And, the last time they rolled out with the seals attached, they didn't exactly contain all of the hydrogen, I'll put it that way, so they're a little bit leaky. So I wouldn't be too shocked if they're a little leaky this time around as well. But we have seen, NASA has proven they have solutions to these problems if they crop up. So even if it's not the first, I do also have confidence in that April, the first week of April, because they've got plenty of days to work with. Fingers crossed it goes smooth.
If like something happened like with the seals or something again, or something electrical, would they just fix it on the pad? Or would they try to roll it all the way back into the building, fix it? And I mean, it feels like a waste of time, but I don't know what their flexibility is as far as fixing things out and on the pad, versus inside the building. Obviously, you see in the building here, and they were saying earlier that this camera angle is already 250 feet off the ground, which is ridiculous. But like you see here, just look on the screen, all the different layers on the left side of the screen there, of all the different layers of like balconies and walkways they have next to this thing, where I'm sure from the corner of each one of those, they have some sort of ability to go out to the craft and like work on things as needed. They don't have any of that I don't think. I don't know what the pad looks like actually, but I'm pretty sure it's just like permanent gantries that are out there, and then the temporary one that comes with every rocket. From what I recall, that's what it seems to look. Maybe I'm wrong, or maybe some of the permanent gantries are in a position where they can fix things like this. I don't know. I don't know how any of that works.
And I'll be honest. If they go on April 1st with no issues, I'll be a little surprised, but I will not be complaining whatsoever, because that is what we all want to see. I will not be complaining. The next flight of this beautiful big orange rocket.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Those are the launch dates available to NASA, or at least the ones they've told us about, rather. April 1st through 6th. The first 2 days of that window is daylight launches, or at least the window opens during daylight. And
so the first one, I can't see what it says, to be honest, but it's a little bit too small for me. But from what I remember, it's like 6:30 at night, or like 6. I think that says 6:20. So it's like 6:20 p.m., which now with daylight saving times and because the days are longer because it's getting warmer again, it's it'll be light out, I guess, which is cool. I'm not complaining about that. I will watch it in any lighting condition whatsoever. Night launch was epic because you could see how bright it was, but I wonder if I've now only seen one rocket launch and it was at night. I wonder if a day launch it appears just as bright. But I guess I'll maybe see.
April-May window, the only date they've actually told us about so far is April 30th, which is also opens during the daylight hours. But yeah, there are. NASA has confirmed there are dates. Oh, look who that is, Max. NASA has confirmed there are dates for May and June. They just haven't told us which dates there are. And if you happen to be running or coming down to Florida, Julia, I believe you have some information
those are the
about in-person
permanent.
viewing.
It was the.
Why, yes, I
Oh,
do.
I can message them about
If
in
you, have,
person.
if you happen to be running or coming down to Florida, Julia, I believe you have some information about in-person viewing.
Oh, okay. They have info.
Why, yes, I do. First of all, let's just start with when you get here, how to see SLS on the pad, because one of the most popular places to see that was Playa Linda, at least during Artemis 1. And with this one being a crewed mission, it appears that they've upped the safety standards a little bit. So if you want to see SLS on the pad, the hours for Playa Linda are 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. starting tomorrow.
Oh. Playa Linda Beach? I haven't heard of that. Where did I go? I think it was called like Rocket Garden Park or something like that. I was really sketched out because again, it was like this launch was at midnight, the one I saw. So I'm like in the middle of Florida. I pull up to this park. The park very clearly had closed at sundown. And I'm like, all right, well, this is where they said to watch the launch from. And, my uncle had told me, because he sees the launches all the time. He lives down there. He had told me, yeah, this is the best place to see it. So I was like, okay, well, I can't really text him and ask if I'm supposed to be here or not because it's 11:30 p.m. But all right, I'm just going to do it. And at first I was like really sketched out because there was no one there. And I was like, all right. But then like 40 minutes till launch, I decided to get out of the car and scope it out. So I get out of the car and I walk over to the point. And there's a couple other people over there. And I was like, okay, so it's not, I'm not the only one here. I'm not going to get mugged or anything, hopefully. And then in the like 20 minutes before the launch, like it went from like 3 people to like 8 people to like 35 people. It was crazy. And it was cool, like camaraderie and people meeting each other and people, talking with people because we're all there for the same reason, right? And that's a really cool common ground to find. Not even everyone there was from America, which was really cool. Some people were from Sweden and some people it was just people who happened to be in that area of Florida who wanted to see a rocket launch just like I did. So it was really cool to kind of have that experience. But I've not heard of this beach. I wonder if they're going to mention the park. But let me pay attention here so I can try to see if I am making any alternate plans than the ones I had.
Until SLS launches. With that being said, we do not have views from the Vista or roadside views, and they do have beach accesses 1 through 3 closed. If you park at 4, you can't go farther south. So Playa Linda is not necessarily your best option. You can see it in Titusville off the coast of the river. From US 1, it will be a distant view, but hey, it looks pretty at night, lit up.
Okay.
Although I don't always encourage people to spend money, your best view is going to be if you go to the ASC Visitor Center and you take that little bus ride over to the Saturn V Center, and you'll have a great view from their lawn over there, which is one of the viewing locations available for the launch. And you can take an additional tour out.
Oh, so that's not the park. I don't think that's the park I watched it from. It doesn't look the same. It did have a pier out into the ocean, but I don't think KSC Recreation. No, I don't think that's the one. So
for the
in the zoom out here. Okay, you see where the bridge is at the top of the screen that's going across to the launch center? The place I viewed it was right next to that bridge. So it looks like you can go on the bridge and watch it from there, which I guess is fine as well. But I actually the park I went to was like, you see that little like dent inwards, the little indent right next to the bridge on like this side of the bridge? I think that's about the area where I watched it from. And where that was, and it was also in Titusville, but it was about 13 miles as the crow flies from the launch pad.
And you can take an additional tour out to the gantry at 39 and get some telescope views as well. So those will be the easiest pre-launch. Now, if you're talking about launch and where to go, well, as we approach a launch day, I'm going to do some views in my socials to help people out and pin those. but we do
Cool.
have a video for that at the NSF YouTube page on how to watch a launch, and that will give you some ideas of where you can
I'll have to
go
watch that.
to get a great view and have a great experience, and tune in for other things you can do while you're here.
I may even watch that.
Yeah, there are loads of
content.
things to do. I mean, I spend 2 days easily at the KSC
Yeah, the place I
Visitor
went was
Centre
free,
alone. And that's without a launch going on. There is always plenty to do on the Space Coast, and that is an excellent video to get you up to speed with the various locations there are. I will just note, though, the KSC Visitor Centre viewing packages, both of them, the Feel the Heat package, which is the
Sold out.
actual up-close package, and the main visitor complex.
Okay, so 39A, 39B. So 39A, I think, is where SpaceX launches from. 39B is where this one will be launching from. And I think he's about to say it. I've been monitoring the page as well. I think all the packages for going, you can watch it from the Space Center, which is only like 2 miles from the pad. And that would be absolutely the most epic thing ever. But I'm pretty sure it's already sold out. And the way those work are a little bit, it's a money grab from NASA, right? What it is the ticket you buy, it was like $150 a ticket. The ticket you buy is good for 3 launch attempts, and then it expires. So it's like, and there's no higher package option. So it's like you could spend $150. They go through 3 launch attempts, and they get scrubbed 3 times, and this would be the 3rd time. If it scrubs April 1st, it'll scrub. Then everyone who bought it from the first launch attempt back in February, it'll expire. And they'll have to pay an additional $150 to get 3 more launch attempt tickets. That's really not a good system. I hate that system. It doesn't really seem fair. I don't really know why they do it. I guess you could say that people are in town for this launch attempt, but not that launch attempt, so they don't want empty seats. I guess that's a fair argument, but it's just not a good system. So anyways, I think he's about to say it. Those are sold out. I really wanted to get one of those, but I'm not going to, even if they were not sold out, I'm not going to spend $150 to possibly see something launch. As iconic as this is, if I was able to make it to all 3 launch attempts, I'd pay it. For the chance to see it launch from 2 miles away, I'd pay it. But the fact is I can only make it for 1 launch attempt. So I'm not going to pay $150 for the chance to maybe on that 1 launch attempt see it,
Viewing package. They're both sold out. So unfortunately,
Sold
if you're
out.
looking to purchase those, you had to do that already because they did sell out quite quickly. Of course, those don't get kind of refunded unless they actually go for a launch attempt, which they haven't done yet.
And you know what? There may still be some options for viewing SLS on the pad from Starfleet tours if you like going on a boat tour. And you can see some great views of
I didn't even
a
think about
lot
that.
of the Space Coast on your way up to see it on the pad. And I've heard great things about the tours that they presented the last time that they rolled out. So
I'll look into that.
tune into their socials to see if there's going to be any availability for that. And I know a lot of you who are coming are going to be spending a lot of money on hotels. So please don't think that there aren't free things to do around here. We have lots of great parks in Titusville. We also have the American Space Museum, the Sand Space History Center. That is a free option, a place where I
saw that.
volunteer,
I
so you
didn't
may
go
even
there,
catch
though.
me there. You can learn some of how we got to where we are today out here on Cape.
Cool.
We have got a load more questions coming into the chat, which is great to see.
Before they get into the questions, I think I'm going to end this specific video. I think that went pretty well. I don't feel like I'm ripping off their content. I feel like I'm able to add stuff, which is really what I wanted. I wanted to prioritize not ripping off other people's content and actually feel like I'm using the fair use clause correctly and providing transformative content. So if you disagree with me, please comment. I would love to hear from you whether you agree or disagree, because I want to make sure I'm being fair to everybody. And I want to make sure I'm not, coming into this scene immediately making enemies with fans of other channels, or even other channels themselves. I want to be, friends with everybody. I don't want to make enemies. So anyways, thank you for watching. Thank you for tolerating my long stories. and my utter complete ignorance of anything related to this. I'm going to make another video of this. I may make it tonight. I may go to bed. Now that's 2:30 a.m. and pick this up at some other point. But anyways, I appreciate you watching, and catch you next time.